teenage girl comes home from school and asks her mother, "Is it true what Rita just told me? That babies come out of the same place where boys put their teeth?" "Yes, dear," replies her mother, pleased that the subject has finally come up and she won't have to explain it to her daughter. "But when a baby's actually born," responded the teenager, "how does it get past your teeth?" Priest was driving along and saw a nun on the side of the road. He stopped and offered her a lift, which she accepted. She got in and crossed her legs, forcing her groin to open and reveal a lovely leg. The priest took a look and nearly had an accident. After regaining control of the car, he stealthily slid his hand up her leg. The nun looked at him and immediately said, "Father, remember Psalm 129? The priest was flustered and apologized profusely. He forced himself to remove his hand. However, he was unable to remove his eyes from her leg. Further on, while changing gear, he let his hand slip up her leg again. The nun once again said, "Father, remember Psalm 129? Once again, the priest apologized. "Sorry, sister, but the flesh is weak." Arriving at the convent, the nun got out, gave him a meaningful glance, and went on her way. On his arrival at the church, the priest rushed to receive a Bible and looked up Psalm 129. It said, "Go forth and seek. Further up, you will find the glory." A man out shopping bought some new condoms. When he got home, his wife noticed the brand, Olympic condoms. "What makes them so special?" she asked. "There are 3 colors," he replied. "Gold, silver, and bronze." "What color are you going to wear tonight?" she asked. "Gold, of course," said the man. "Really?" she said. "Why don't you wear silver? It would be nice if you came second for a change." A blonde and a brunette walk into a bar. As they sit down, the brunette notices a guy checking out the blonde. So the brunette decides to go and talk to this guy. She walks up to him and says, "I see you've been checking out my friend. You know, the blonde sitting over there, she's pretty, isn't she?" The guy responds, "Oh man, she's just gorgeous, absolutely beautiful." The brunette says, "Well, for $50 I can arrange for you to smell her crotch." The guy says, "Well, yes, of course." He pulls out the money and hands it to her. She takes it and breathes in his face. This guy walks into the bar and sees a gorgeous blonde sitting on the bar stool all alone. So the guy sits down next to her and pulls a small box from his pocket. He opens it and there's a frog inside. The blonde says he's cute, but does he do tricks? The guy says yes, he licks girls' cats. So after talking with her for several minutes, he convinces her to come with him to his apartment. They get there and she takes all her clothes off, gets into bed, and opens her legs. The guy sets the frog right between her legs and it just sits there not moving at all. The blonde says, "Well, what's up?" The frog still does not move. So the guy leans over to the frog and says, "All right, I'm only going to show you how to do this one more time." Attractive young woman had finished taking golf lessons from the club pro. She had just started playing her first round of golf when she got a bee sting. The pain was so intense she decided to return to the clubhouse. Her golf pro saw her come into the clubhouse and asked, "Why are you back so early? What's wrong?" "I was stung by a bee," was her reply. "Where?" he asked. "Between the first and second hole." He nodded knowingly and said, "Then your stance is too wide." Bill worked in a pickle factory. He had been employed there for a number of years when he came home one day to confess to his wife that he had a tremendous urge to stick his penis into the pickle slicer. His wife suggested that he should see an therapist to talk about it, but Bill indicated that he'd be too embarrassed. He vowed to overcome the compulsion on his own. One day, a few weeks later, Bill came home absolutely ashen. His wife could see that at once that something was seriously wrong. "What's wrong, Bill?" she asked. Do you remember that I told you how I had this tremendous urge to put my into the pickle slicer?" "Oh, Bill, you didn't." "Yes, I did." "My God, Bill, what happened?" "I got fired." "No, Bill, I mean what happened with the pickle slicer?" "Oh, she got fired too," the man says. Couple are on their way to Vegas to get married. Before getting there, the girl says to the guy that she has a confession to make. The reason that they have not been too intimate is because she's very flat-chested. If he wishes to cancel the wedding, it's okay with her. The guy thinks about it for a while and says he does not mind, that she's flat and is not the most important thing in a marriage. Several miles down the road, the guy turns to the girl and says that he also wants to make a confession. He says that below his waist, he's just like a baby. If the girl wants to cancel the marriage, it's okay with him. The girl thinks about it for a while and says that she does not mind, and that she also believes there are other things far more important than in a marriage. They are happy that they are honest with each other and go on to Vegas and get married. On their wedding night, the girl takes off her clothes. She is as flat as a washboard. Finally, the guy takes off his clothes. One glance at the guy's body and the girl faints and falls to the floor. After she regains consciousness, the guy says, "I told you before we get married. Why did you still faint?" The girl says, "You told me it was just like a baby." The guy replies, "Yes, 8 pounds and 21 inches. A blonde girl is crossing the road when she gets hit by a car. As she is lying on the ground, the driver rushes out of the car to see if she's alright. "I'm so sorry, I just didn't see you. Are you okay?" he blurts out. "Everything is just a blur, I can't see a thing," she says tearfully. Concerned, the man leans over the woman to test her eyesight. He asks, "How many fingers have I got up?" "Oh no," she screams. "Don't tell me I'm paralyzed from the waist down too." Priest was getting ready to hear confessions one day when he got a terrible attack of diarrhea. So he asked the altar boy to take over for him. "But I don't know how to hear confessions," said the altar boy. "It's easy," said the priest. "You've seen me do it many times. Nobody will know the difference." So the altar boy was in the confession booth when a man came in and sat down on the other side. "Father, I don't know what to do," the man said. "Last night my wife and I were in bed. She was sleeping and I rolled her over and did her in the ass. I feel bad about it, but I don't know how to make it up to her." "That's easy," said the altar boy. "Just give her milk and cookies like the priest gives me." One day, a little girl and a little boy were at the park with their pants pulled down. The little girl asked the little boy, "What is that?" And the little boy said, "I don't know." Then the little boy asked the little girl the same thing and she said she didn't know. So that night, the little girl asked her mom and her mom said, "That's your garage, and you must not let any big trucks go in." Meanwhile, at the little boy's house, the little boy asked his dad what it was, and his dad said, "That's your big truck, and you must not park it in any garage." The next day, the boy and the girl pulled their pants down again, but this time the girl went home with blood on her hands. Her mom screamed and asked why she had blood on her hands. The girl said, "The boy tried to put his big truck in my garage, so I pulled his 2 back tires off." In a mental institution, a nurse walks into a room and sees a patient acting like he's driving a car. The nurse asks him, "Charlie, what are you doing?" Charlie replies, "Driving to Chicago." The nurse wishes him a good trip and leaves the room. The next day, the nurse enters Charlie's room just as he stops driving his imaginary car and asks, "Well, Charlie, how you doing?" Charlie says, "I just got into Chicago." "Great," replies the nurse. The nurse leaves Charlie's room and goes across the hall into Bob's room and finds Bob sitting on his bed furiously masturbating. Shocked, she asks, "Bob, what are you doing?" Bob says, "I'm doing Charlie's wife while he's in Chicago."